Hey guys, hey everybody. I've been having a bunch of technical issues today. Uh, I'm trying to figure out, but we'll slowly figure it out. At the moment, just letting the group know that I'm on. Live. Hey. All right, so I think we're good there. Okay. So, yeah, hope you guys can hear and see me okay. Um, just gonna wait a little bit for people to hop on here. It's the second live of the year, and right now I'm in the middle of changing a lot of things in terms of uh, in terms of how everything is set up, and so obviously when you make changes, weird things happen sometimes, and there's some wonky stuff going on. Very unfortunately wonky. So yeah, just waiting a little bit for people to hop on. Whoever just hopped on, say hi. Um, going to be answering a few questions today, obviously, as I do every week. Sort of trying to multitask just a little bit. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, I'm not going to fix it now. Okay, so yeah, so I got a few questions. Hey, Beard you, what's up, man? Good to see you on here, bro. This is actually my brother-in-law. Okay, so there's three questions that I'll be answering today. And Beard you, your sister came up with these questions, so that's exciting. Um, So, first question I'll be answering is: do I need to have an assistant, or let's say a partner, to run a company like this? That's question number one. Question number two is: which companies required the most work? And then the third question is: best way to gauge how many receptionists I need. I'll need per amount of clients. Those are good questions. Um, Definitely gonna answer them. And yeah, so I don't know. It's been almost 4 minutes now. By the time we hit maybe 6 minutes, wherever we're at, even if it's just me and my brother-in-law, then I'll still get going. I know this is a later start than normal, so I certainly apologize about that. But yeah, there's some real I don't know issues trying to get some of this stuff switched over. I switched the course to a completely new platform today. I'm trying to switch the payment button for the course, but I haven't been able to do it because I can't access the site. So that is not too fun. But once that's done, our lives will be a little bit easier. Okay, let's see, where are we? Okay. All right, so almost 5 minute mark. I'm gonna wait one more minute, then we'll get going, get popping. Hope you guys are all holding on to some of your resolution still. It being January 12th, not too far into the room into the year, so we want to make sure we're still keeping it popping. Okay. So about 30 more seconds, I'll get started. Throat been hurting a little bit. So we're gonna get started in about 10 seconds or so. Whoever hopped in, feel free to say hi. So yeah, 6 minutes in, let's get started. Oh, hey L, how you doing? Hope everything's going well on your end. Elle is recently it's a new tribe member, and we're excited to see where she's going. She's been smashing it in terms of planning and taking action. So we're excited about that. So okay, and Elle, hey, you're in Houston, correct? Just to get clarification there. Okay, so again, there's three. Oh, sweet. Doing lead gen on LinkedIn. Pretty cool. Yeah, definitely a great way to break into the marketing. It's nice that you can awesome you are in Houston. It's nice that you can be very specific in terms of the types of companies and industries. Not sure if you're using Sales Navigator, but that's a great way to sort of filter down and only really get to the contacts that are very relevant to who you're trying to reach. Okay, so again, as you know, if you have any question, even though you're further along in the process, any questions you have, feel free to ask. Um, and oh, awesome, you got the sales navigator. L is on it, so we're gonna end up doing an interview with L within the next, let's say, 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and I decided actually earlier today, L, that I'm gonna I'm just gonna sort of do like the ClickFunnels people. I'm gonna start giving out plaques to people that hit certain milestones. Because there's already people that have hit the 10K, the 20K. Maybe I should call it 25K, but 20K, 50K, and a few hundred Ks. Okay, 6 months. Okay. Uh, and I feel like when they hit these milestones, they should get some type of plaque. I think it should certainly happen before someone does $1 million. Maybe if there were like 10,000 people going through the course, it'd be a little different. But it's time for plaques. I want people to be able to hold up a plaque and say, "This is my company. I hit this milestone." And at least part of that was because of call center cast and the tribe, and bada bing, bada boom. So, again, there's three questions I intend on answering regardless. First is, do I need to have a partner to run a company like this? Second is, which companies, I guess, client types require the most work? And then the third is, what's the best way to gauge how many receptionists I'll need per amount of clients? And Bill, you asked, what is the key to success in the call center? So I'll certainly answer that as well, Bill. So yeah, so the first question is, do I need to have a partner to run a company like this? So it's a good question. I think when it comes to any company and you're considering starting it, it does come down to, how much time do you have? What are your resources like? What's your bandwidth like in terms of, just how much willpower you have? Again, how much time you have? How much energy you have in terms of going through all the steps and really just tackling all the obstacles you need to tackle in order to open the specific type of company that you are considering opening, right? Now, in the case of this virtual receptionist deal, sometimes I think it is recommended to have a partnership. I started off with a partner myself. Reason for that is because I already had two other projects that I was working on. One was a software company, and one was a cleaning company. And Even though neither of those two companies took a tremendous amount of hours individually, I was probably still spending about 20, 25 hours a week between the two companies at the time. And the big thing is, especially at that time, whenever I decided I was going to work on something new, I wanted to get after it and I wanted to get it done quickly, right? I was in a major sort of like want to grind mode. I wanted to, propel myself to new heights and like be really successful because at that time, I was making, uh, average salary amount of money. And so yeah, so when I started Vicky Virtual, I had a partner, um, and again, it allowed us to get more done with me personally working less hours to get it done than it would have taken, um, and therefore having more things happen more quickly. Okay, now is it a requirement to have had that partner in order for me to get or Vicky Virtual to get where it got within 5 years? It's not a requirement. It certainly had a bit of an impact. One thing to keep in mind is that after 17 months, I actually bought my partner out. So after that point, it was just me running the company, and then the operations manager, CEO guy. Um, but the steps that it takes to get this done and the typical bandwidth and resources that it takes to get this done make it so that you do not need a partner. There have been plenty of students that have been creating more success and more revenue and clientele than I had after, say, a year that aren't in a partnership, right? Andy's one of them. I did an interview with him. Uh, Maurice is one of them. I did an interview with him. He was able to, achieve more success than I did first year while not having a partner and also while having a job. So, there was a few things working against him. Lauren Hazel doesn't have a partner. She beat me. Um, Eric did not have a partner. There's only in fact, now that I think about it, I can only think of a couple companies that did have partners that are performing like the best so far in the year and a half that this program has been available. So I'm spending a long time answering this question, but it you don't necessarily need a partner. Okay. Second question, I'm going to answer Bill's question. What is the key to success in a call center? And whoever's hopping in, feel free to say hi. Good to see you here. Sorry I'm starting late today. I had some serious technical difficulty, not on the, you know, related to the course, but not related to YouTube Live, that still have not been solved yet. So after I hop off of this and I do the tribe call, I got to figure it out. So whoever you are, say hi. Good to see you here. Um, hey, Ahmed Ali. Good to see you. I'll answer that question in just a second. It's a great question. So again, oh hey B, good to see you. Again, Beard, you asked, what is the key to success in a call center? Um, I think the key to success in a call center, and really when it comes to any business, is there's a few things. One, you need to have a very clear understanding of what it is you're offering, like inside and out, right? At least to the point where you can convey your offering and the value of that offering to the right clients. So my dog, he's all, every single week he's gonna bark once or twice. Um, um, you need to know enough about what you're offering to be able to properly convey it. If you're still sort of figuring out the industry, which is totally fine. If you're still sort of figuring out what your product even is and what your offering even is, then it's hard to be as clear and concise on the messaging, right? And the less clear and the less concise you are on the messaging, the harder it is to communicate your offering to your buyers, your prospects. And obviously being able to close prospects and get sales is the way to succeed. So I think that's absolutely paramount. A lot of people worry about whether they're good marketers or good salespeople. And I don't think you necessarily need to be a very good salesperson if you have a full and clear understanding of the offering. And then through that understanding, you have belief in the value of that offering. Any person on this planet, pretty much, at least amongst their friends, um, at least amongst their friends, has I might actually have to reply to this email. We'll see in a second. At least amongst their friends, had convinced their friends of something, right? They've said, "Hey, you really need to see this movie for this reason." They saw the movie, they liked it, they understand, that their friend probably gonna like it because they're friends and they know each other well enough to know that. And it wasn't like you were selling them; you were just informing them for these reasons you really need to see this movie. And the conviction was there, and it wasn't a sales thing; it was just a reality. You're telling them the reality. The reality is that what you're offering is valuable to them due to their business being in a certain situation. So that's the key: having a full understanding of your service offering, and having that faith and conviction behind what you're offering, and knowing that it has value to your prospect. When that foundation is there, everything that emanates from you obviously you have to put in the work, you have to put in action, you have to be consistent, but those apply to anything. No matter what your effort is, the effort might be for naught if you're not conveying your messaging and getting it across the right way. And again, it's not difficult to do that once you have an understanding of what you're offering. So that's the key. That's if I'm going to offer sort of a unique perspective on what the key should be. Okay, so Ahmed asked, do you prefer calling or emailing to generate lead? Now, what I will say is that in the past, my opinion changes on this every year. When I had less experience, the only thing I knew to do ever was call. And my past career experience in the job world, before I went into business, I spent about 8 years as a sales guy in various roles, various companies. And so the majority of those sales roles were calling. And so that's what I was comfortable doing. That's what I was used to doing. And so, yeah, I sort of went to calling as my initial approach. However, especially with our call center cast tribe students, we're seeing that people that are emailing are, uh, I would say, a bit more consistently having success. And the large reason for that is that you're able to email more people than you're able to call in a day. Obviously, given conversation, within a given conversation, you're able to, uh, convey more value and have sort of a better uh, conversation with your prospect when you're talking to them versus emailing them. Uh, but the sheer amount of people that you're able to email in a given set period of time versus call, which is extremely limited, it's always going to tilt the scale in favor of email. Now, of course, you have to do it right. If you don't do it right, if you sort of send out too many emails, um, in a way that could cause your domain to get blocked, so that your email is not being sent to someone's Gmail account or someone's Hotmail account or whatever. If it's not done right and it gets flagged as sort of like a spam domain, then you're in trouble. And you might not know that you're in trouble until you run some testing at some point, which I think you always need to do. Every week or so, you need to do some tests to make sure that your emails are still sending. But yeah, so personally, I like calling. I like getting a serious pulse as to what's going on. It allows me to iterate faster too, because you get like real time feedback, constantly. When you're talking to people, they might either hang up and then you slowly get to the point where they're not hanging up on you as often, right? because that never goes away completely. Then you slowly get to the point that you're able to progress further and further along in more and more conversation because you continue to tweak your approach on the fly because of the instant feedback that you're getting through calling. So that's why I like it. Much more nerve wracking. It's a lot slower. Uh, there's no real way to leverage it except through hiring sales rep. But that's it. Okay. Um, okay. So Ahmed asked, to be more specific, if I'm targeting a restaurant and they use the phone for customers, so it's hard to call and justify a sales call, how do I reach the owner? Um, when it comes to a specific business, it can be sort of difficult. Restaurants are tough in general, and I'll tell you why. One is because unless they're like a chain of restaurants, then it's a little bit different. It's actually a lot different if it's a chain. But if it's not a chain of restaurant, it can be very difficult because the people that are answering the phone are typically the hostesses, and the hostesses, it's just baked into their position, right? And restaurants have, especially individual restaurants, have low margins. They have low profit margins. That's why they fail so often. Um, it's actually one of the highest percentage failure industries out there. Um, and so what happens is that they hire their staff to staff the restaurant, and that's usually going to include hostesses, at least pre-COVID. And if the hostess job, if one of the responsibilities is to answer the phone, they don't even want to spend a few $100s for a service because then that's something the hostess could have been doing, and now they're not doing it, and it's not like they're so busy, doing all kinds of other stuff that they would be doing. It's just in their case, sort of like wasted payroll, right? So I would say restaurants are difficult to target in the first place. Um, but in general, right? Um, if someone is, if you're trying to get to an owner, then the goal is to honestly, I wouldn't even try too hard, for a specific contact. I would just sort of play the numbers, especially if you're calling. There's going to be enough scenarios, there's enough companies out there where you can get to an owner pretty immediately to not, put too much effort into trying to finagle your way to an owner at one specific company. Because again, the majority of companies out there, there's more than enough which you're able to reach the owner pretty easily. Now, if you reach some type of receptionist and they're like, I can leave a message, then leave that message, right? Say, hey, you know what? Not sure how you guys are currently doing with your call handling, but if if it's not the best use of even your time at the receptionist to be taking the call, maybe there's some administrative higher priority task that you can be completing. If there's any reason for you guys to have some type of service handling the call, I'd love to be able to present more information. I haven't made a sales call in a long time, but that's the only sort of approach that I take when there's sort of like a gatekeeper. If they're using a service already, uh, you know, sometimes hilariously enough, they'll still be okay with having the message sent. And if they don't like the service, sometimes they actually will reach back out to you. But emailing sort of had the same effect there because it bypasses, services or gatekeepers entirely. So I hope that helps answer your question, Ahmed. Sort of two parts. One, I sort of stay away from restaurants, and two, I don't spend too much effort in trying to get to the owner uh, in situations where they're pretty well uh, protected or whatever, because there's just too many businesses out there that do not have like a chasm between the phone and the owner, and you can just go after those. They're the low hanging fruit. So really quickly, I'm gonna answer the which companies required the most work, and then I'll circle back to you. Happy to do it. Um, Okay, so what is the best way to gauge which companies require the most work? So I've sort of answered this before, and I'll answer it quickly. Local service businesses like contracting company, plumbers, like painting company, cleaning companies, landscapers, they tend to require the most work, partially, partially because they spend um, they end up using like every service that you have to offer. One, two, because a lot of those businesses are completely predicated on, being able to close the deal with a lead right then and there. Generally, when someone calls a plumber, they're trying to book the plumber, right? When they call an electrician, same deal. When they call a cleaning company, it's the same deal. And I don't know. Also, another thing and this isn't anything bad, but usually, like if you're calling, say, a law firm, or an accounting firm, whatever, or white collar, companies, they tend to be a bit more sophisticated in terms of how they handle the operation. Now, this, of course, isn't uniform. There's definitely extremes in both directions in any type of industry. Um, but because they tend to be a bit more sophisticated on the white collar side, they just have more of an understanding of why certain things might not work out a certain way, right? So whereas sometimes a painting contract or whatever, uh, they just understand painting and they really don't understand much about business at all. They're just they had some word of mouth, they got some good reviews through Yelp or something, and they're getting called because of that. But they haven't really learned how to build a business. They just learned how to, work their job as a contractor, and then maybe they're getting inbound lead because they've got, a good reputation within their city or whatever. And so even if they're at the point where they've hired a few contractors to help out, they haven't necessarily been forced to learn how to run a business. And until you're forced to learn how to run a business, it can be tough to understand how exactly to deal with vendors like us in a way where you understand things. Now, the way I'm saying it, if you haven't, spent any time in the call center industry, it might seem worse than what it really is. But so the large thing is that no industry of clients is really that difficult as an industry. It's maybe a 10% difference, right? Um, but if I had to, pick the one that's slightly harder to deal with, it's local service businesses versus, white collar firms. So it's always easier than the stuff I dealt with in most of my other businesses. Okay. Uh, Last question. You want to invent my answering service center? Unfortunately, no. But good question. Okay. So Be Well just asked a very good question. Um, okay, I'm going to answer that right now. um, I'd like some tips and hey, Darren, good to see you, man. Thanks a lot for your help last week. I'd like some tips and guidance on how to manage pre-launch marketing without losing prospects. Should I be explicit and upfront that my offering will be virtual reception services or something else? Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that. If I were to give some type of tip, uh, you could essentially do what we did. Um, we were cleaning business owners, my partner and I, when we started. We were both separate owners of separate cleaning companies. He was in Kansas City, I was in Chicago, and we were originally sort of marketing to other cleaning business owners. And so my initial cold calling and stuff, I only called cleaning businesses. And so, because that didn't exist already, we were able to do a pre-launch like, hey, we're launching a virtual receptionist company that will be better equipped to uniquely handle the needs of cleaning businesses because it is being created by cleaning business owners. And so, we're basically selling a story of, hey, we're going to do things different. And this is a clear way in which how we're going to be different. And so, yeah, I mean, some people can go do the research and stuff, but I think everyone, for the most part, has an understanding that, by and large, the services that are being offered by you are going to be similar to offering or services offered by other companies. They just want that one thing that makes you 5 to 10% better for them. So if you're able to communicate with them that you're 5% better than the other because of something specific that's unique about you, right? Then that's usually enough of a glue to keep them connected to you, right? Uh, at least for like 30 days, 30 to 45 days. Um, if you're waiting 6 months to launch, then you can't really, there's not much you can do. But if it's just 30 to 45 days, um, it's not a huge thing. The other thing to understand is that whenever any random company is using a service, it's always month to month. So we've encountered plenty of situations where, people will be considering us and they're currently using the service and they're like, okay, yeah, let me finish out this month because I've already paid them for the month and then we'll switch over to you. Or they'll they'll trial us. We've had this happen actually a lot. They'll trial us for the week, decide if they like it during the trial, and even when they say, "Yeah, we like you guys," they'll still go and finish out the rest of the cycle with the old provider, and then switch over to it. So just because someone, you lose the prospect temporarily, if you have conveyed that you're 5% better, I like this wording. If you conveyed that you're 5% better than the competitors because of your unique whatever, then they're probably going to end up coming back to you unless the service they use completely blows them away, which frankly doesn't really happen that often because, you know, pretty much everybody's doing the same thing. Um, so I hope that is a something that, help guide you a little bit. Darren said, "I have a question, if I may. So I want to start a pure outbound sales call center. What's the general pricing for a client? Do we charge per lead, or what's the best way?" I'll be honest with you. That's a very loaded question. um, the pricing is completely dependent on what types of industry you're serving. It's the type of thing that when you're doing outbound call, you can almost price it specifically to each client. It might be sort of like a custom tailored solution for each client. Because when you're doing outbound sales, performance based. It's based off of you being able to hit certain metric and what one company, even within the same industry, considers to be an acceptable metric, and what they're selling, the price point of what they're selling, the price, the profit margin on that. All those things are going to be completely unique and different. Even in the B2B space or SaaS company, all of them are going to be completely different. All those variables are completely different company by company. And so what you have to do is have a discovery call and conversation with the prospect to figure out, okay, what are you looking to achieve? What is your expectation? You have to manage those expectations. And what are you looking to essentially reward us if we, meet and or exceed those expectations? And again, that's going to look different for every single prospect that you have. There's no such thing as a one size fits all, even within an industry, even within certain company sizes within an industry. Now, what some people have attempted to do is they'll say stuff like, "Oh, well, we get $4 per call that lasts a certain amount of time," or something like that. I'll type in one company that I know does this, called Perceptionist. Um, hey, whoever hopped on, feel free to say hi. Good to see you guys. Um, it's called Perceptionist. Perceptionist is the type of company that they charge you. I think if they make the sale or like if they, no, I can't remember, but they essentially have to do something successfully in order to get paid at all, which, I think that's very stressful. It's a stressful way to do business in this industry. So, again, there's no general pricing, in my opinion. I think if you attempt to do that, then you're going to either screw yourself over or you're going to be suboptimal in terms of what your pricing is going to be individually per client, even if you, niche within a specific industry. Again, there's certain examples of companies that have been able to pull it off. But even if they are able to pull it off, for simplicity's sake, oh, we charge this amount, you're not going to be in an optimal situation. Your pricing is going to make more sense for certain companies than it will for others. And with that in mind, your operational experience and the headache are going to go up and down based off of, which specific company you're serving. So, yeah, have a discovery call, be extremely clear in terms of asking the right questions to figure out what the goal of the campaign for your prospect. How can you, meet or exceed whatever the goal is, and what is the anticipated reward in terms of compensation for meeting or exceeding those goals, and then you figure out a way to build it into how you're going to serve that particular client. And if it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, then you know that up front, and you don't have to engage in that relationship, in that transaction. So that's my take on it. Okay. And I hope that was helpful. Um, uh, yeah. And also, what happens too is, there are times where you can sort of establish yourself as a outbound sales center, and you try to generate inbound leads from content marketing and stuff. And people usually have an idea of what they want to pay people, right? Um, so you'll get like an email or something, people reaching out to you, and they'll say, okay, this is what we got. This is what we're looking to pay. This is what we're trying to get done. And then again, you just figure out whether you can do it. Now, again, the unfortunate thing is that you don't know how hard or easy it is to sell someone's product until you start attempting to sell someone's product or service. That's just a reality. The owner will tell you whatever they tell you, but they're always lying to you to a certain extent. They're always saying, "Oh yeah, we've been able to do this. The old guys were able to do this, do that," and they'll find a way to sort of justify why it's plenty of compensation for you to get $6 for sale. It's plenty of compensation for you to only get paid if you go like they'll set certain expectations usually that don't match up with what happens in reality. Um, and that might be me sounding a bit um, pessimistic, but just in my experience, it doesn't usually work out all that well. Um, So yeah, we can talk more about that off this call, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation. I personally, when I was running Vicky, we like explicitly avoided outbound performance-based sales campaign for that reason. Okay. Um, if Lauren Hazel ever hops on this call, she is someone that does it as part of her business strategy, though. So she's like a lead generation company, digital marketing. Um, and then the virtual receptionist thing is sort of like in addition to that. So if you happen to be here, Lauren, or maybe I can just connect you guys and you can have a conversation. Okay. uh, any other questions at all? There was one other question that came in, unfortunately, and I really apologize that I started late today. But I will have to hop off here in about 10 to 15 minutes because we've got the tribe call coming up. Um, Man, if anybody knows, by the way, this is my situation. So I can reach any website on the internet that's secure, whatever, except for callcentercash.com, vickyvirtual.com, and yourcallcenter.org, which I need to make edits on, not Vicky Virtual with the other two. And the reason is because I was doing some editing on them this morning because I needed to change the button. And then the hosting provider that we use, the security certificate expired. They fixed it probably in 15 minutes, but my my internet provider somehow recognized it as all of those sites as sites that you can't connect to the server, and it can't revert it back. I've turned off my modem, restarted it. I tried different browsers. If I go to my cell phone internet, it works. I can access all these sites. But my at home Wi-Fi connection just can't seem to sort of restart the process of attempting to connect to these sites. I cleared the cache and everything, and I can't. You know what? I'll try a VPN just to see if it works. Okay. Um. Uh. Oh man, you make about 200 to 300 calls a day. That's my type of guy, man. That's I'm killing it. That's what I used to do about, I don't know, 12 years ago now. 13, 14 years ago. I can't do that level of volume anymore. But I want to circle back to this other question. Best way to gauge how many receptionists I'll need per amount of client. Um, so there's two ways to answer this question. The first is to buy the program, because within the program, one of the bonuses you get is a calculator that's really break down everything. You put in the number of clients you have, what your pricing is, um, for each plan type, and blah blah blah. And it will tell you exactly how many agents you need. It breaks down the entire structure of your business based off of the parameters that you type in. But the simple rule of thumb is that typically, if the average client is paying you about $250 to $300 a month, then you're probably going to land about 15 to 1 in terms of ratio. So that means there'll be about 15 clients per one receptionist. Now, that's not the case when you first launch, right? One receptionist can't reliably handle 15 clients without missing some calls. When you have six receptionists, then yes, they can typically handle around 90 average size clients with a total of, let's say, 200 minutes per 18,000 minutes. Because six agents have the bandwidth of about 3,600 minutes per month per agent, which is, I don't know, 21,600 minutes a month. I really hope I got the math right. I've been off lately. So 21,600 minutes a month. So if you're dealing with 18,000 minutes, you've still got a buffer of 3,600 minutes. Okay. So if 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 the average client's about 250 a month, it's around 15 to 1 at scale. And at scale begin uh, really at about five agents, maybe four, sort of, but definitely at five. And the reason that we grow this thing out, like when you have 100 agents, it should be 15 to 20 groups of 5 to 6 agents for that reason, right? It's really just a bunch of small groups, small companies, really, of 5 to 6 agents, or maybe 4 to 6 agents, depending on how you want to structure it, that are serving between 50 to 80 clients in those groups, those assigned groups. Um, and that way you can have a larger company while still providing a boutique experience for each individual client that you are serving. Okay. Um, okay. Any other final question? I'm going to stick around for about 4 or 5 more minutes. And I hope I answered everything. Um, and I appreciate you guys for being on here. When I first started this call, for the first 6 minutes, there was no one on here, and at one point we had 10. So appreciate y'all showing up. Any final questions at all for the next 3 minutes or so? Happy to answer. There's no dumb questions. And if there's anything I somehow missed, feel free to let me know. But I don't believe I've missed anything. Oh, you know what? I should announce this right now since we've got a minute. I'm going to be raising the price of the course again. And the reason is because I'm finally dead serious about to start running ads like for the foreseeable future. And I've never done that since I launched this course almost 2 years ago. January 23rd will be 2 years since the launch of the program. And I have raised the price consistently, and I thought I was going to keep it at, um, a certain amount, but I'm going to be raising it uh, literally one last time. I'm telling you right now, after I raise it, I am not going to raise it again. Because, even though maybe theoretically I could, I'm going to be adding some more videos and stuff. Uh, and frankly, as the tribe community gets larger and more people launch businesses, it gets more valuable. But after I raise the price again, I don't personally, in my own desire or whatever, I don't have a desire to raise it anymore. But I am going to raise it one more time. It's going to be a 25% increase. And then, basically, if someone participates in the ad and watches the webinar, then they'll get a discount code that takes it down um, to what you could pay right now. So, that's gonna happen. So those of you that are considering getting in, make sure you do it. I'm willing to give even a 10% discount code. Just hit me up directly, and I'll just randomly work up a code for you. But again, 100%, I'm going to raise it. It's probably going to be, let's say today's the 12th. Um, Friday is the 14th. So on the 28th, I'm going to raise it. On the 28th, I'm going to write that down. On the 28th, I'm going to be raising the price of the court 25% forever. Okay. So mark that down. If anybody's on the fence, don't forget, because I'm not going to bring the price of the court down. This isn't something that's going to be obsolete. If the information feels like it's starting to be obsolete, then I'm just going to update the course so that it's never obsolete. Um, but this is a general business situation, and the steps to start a call center are never going to change. The only thing that's going to change is what tools and stuff you should use, and maybe some marketing tactics and such. But you know, again, I'm never gonna lower it ever. So keep that in mind. Okay, so Sabina, welcome, another tribe member. Great to see you. Uh, she's letting us know that she has a logo for a call center. Congratulations. Good to know that. Glad you're making progress. Extremely important. And yeah, so Sabina's in Canada, and she's getting it done. She. I'm just excited to see where you're headed because I know you're, somewhere in the outskirts, the rural part of Canada, and yes, she's able to run this business because all you need is an internet connection and a laptop and some grit and willpower and desire and all that stuff. So yeah, good stuff. Sabina, I'm about to hop on to the tribe call and I could see you in there. But other than that, you know, um, I'm glad you guys are here. Again, I apologize for starting late. Gotta fix this website stuff. I really don't know how I'm gonna do it. Um, I'm actually pretty techy, but literally like every single method that I typically try is just not working. So whatever. We'll figure it out. Other than that, thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys next week.